Hi, everybody. We're already planning for doing Jupiter Jet. Mom's really anxious to finish this volume for the future. But right now, I got some books, pardon me, that need reviewing because, yeah, that's what we do here. I'll talk about other people's books till I have my own book to my book's good and ready. Hopefully, you'll see the Jupiter Jet video soon. Yeah. So let's start with one I really enjoyed. Hardware. Hardware, like I said, I really enjoyed. But here's the thing: if they're gonna carry this on to season two, they need to like loosen up on the idea of what it means to be genius. I mean, they mention static, but they don't follow through on that idea. They don't, and my three big problems is that hardware seems to know everything, but yet he can't solve this book's problem. They kind of mention static. They make it a lived-in world, and the other problem is that the release schedule. Icon and static release on a regular basis enough where I can keep track of the story. I can tell you how it connected to the other milestone. But this book, this book just releases whenever, you know, hardware is just getting off too, and icon and static are both on issue 3 of a 4, maybe 5 issue thing. But hardware is just starting the journey, and icon and static are almost done. Other than those three main problems, which they all connect in a, because if the release schedule was better with hardware, I could tell you how this connects to static and icon. If they had illustrated that better, it wouldn't matter the release schedule. Yeah, you get the general idea. Icon and static are better than this. But I did enjoy it. The artwork reminded me of Manos Publishing. It reminded me of very independent, but also at the same time, hero that you want to live in their world, you know? Yeah, I get that people worked hard on this. Um, I like that it introduced Baraka, his ex-wife. I still will pick up the next issue because you gotta find out how he overcomes the main problem in the book. So, yeah, I do think that that's kind of competing with a couple of the other books, even the DC book I have for headspace. But I mean, space in my head. But, yeah. I genuinely did like Hardware. But I'm to Marvel. This, when you read both two Marvel books we have to talk about today, when you read them both as one single series thing, it was a good show. When you read them separately, again, wasn't a good show. It was a disappointment. But when you read them as one thing, like Rocky and Bullwinkle, and it just continued onward, you got the vibe it was putting down. I liked that Conan was afraid of dying. I liked that it made me question, okay, what are they going to do after Conan gets home? Will the Savage Avengers just end? Because they turned it into the Conan book. Yeah, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But what I do know is that I enjoyed seeing him kick the ass of Ghost Rider in both books. I like seeing prehistoric Ghost Rider riding a spider. That kind of shit you don't you didn't get over in Hardware or the other DC book we have today. I like that Conan's just afraid of dying alone. I found that very relatable. That yes, he saved lives. I mean, I kind of don't like that they turned Savage Avengers into they turned Savage Avengers into a Conan book I do feel they should give Conan a different title, but what are you gonna do? I mean, if you cancel it, they could stick Conan in, like, you gotta at least finish the adventure. Yeah, I mean, they could stick Conan in, like, let's see, what weird. They could stick him in the. They could stick him on, um, that planet that the Guardians of the Galaxy were all on at at the end of, or they could, like, destroy him using Galactus, or, like, push him to the end of the um the end of the Marvel Unlimited. Yeah, they could do that because it's a comic book and they could do anything. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I just feel they need to finish the story with Conan before I start whining. I mean, I don't like that they've turned in a new Conan book, but still, maybe Conan will get his own book at the end of this. One can only hope. Um, I still have other Conan books to read. 23 and 21. 22, 22 and 21 were good books because it made me feel like I was reading one big adventure. Still haven't read all. I'm not fully up to date with Savage Avengers, but what I can tell you is that um it didn't make me want to stop picking up Savage Avengers, which is really what all comic books should try to avoid. If you know you're doing something to make us readers want to stop, then stop doing that. If the doc, if the doc, if you say, oh, if you go to the doctor, say it hurts when I do this, and scream and go, ah, and don't go, ah, and go like this. Um, anyway, just a lesson I think comic books need more. Um, Speaking of other series that will be ending soon, I know we weren't speaking of that, but I am now. It's my show. We have Billy Batson in Shazam. This was a good Shazam. You had Neuron trying to get Billy's soul, and his friend Dean, and if I had to put money on what book Preacher would be in if they ever put Preacher in this, this is pretty darn close. I mean, they got away from ripping off the Scarlet Spider and doing the evil casino thing pretty quickly, which I appreciate that. I mean, you do get to see Raven. Cover does happen, but I really am quite bummed out that it's gonna end at issue 4. I had to check. I just know it's an incredibly small number. 4. It ends at issue 4. And I'm bummed out that because us Shazam fans, we end up waiting years to find out what happens next. It's never like, oh, you guys are gonna find out right away. Yeah, that's another thing. If Marvel were to do what Shazam is doing with what DC is doing with Shazam, with say they got followed through on my suggestion and gave Conan his own series, well, it might take years for that series to come to fruition. Like how the last book I've seen Booster Gold in, other than the Blue and Gold book, which I still need to start, is Heroes in Crisis. God help me. Might as well have said Xenu help me. But yeah, you get the point. They can make you wait for long periods of time. And they have no obligation to tie it in to the last adventure. I mean, Freddy was Shazam for a while there, and in this, I thought about if they had done that right away, what they're doing with Freddy in this, like 10 years ago, that would have confused the crap out of people. And if somebody's just stopping by and picking up one book of Shazam because they like Shazam back when Freddy was Shazam, that would that would confuse the crap out of them. I mean, yeah. As much as DC says they try to clean up their continuity, if if you're trying to clean up your continuity, they obviously don't start with Shazam. That's all I'm gonna say. Because continuity on Shazam books is still a mess. Again, I really did enjoy this. I know it sounds like I'm ragging on it, but um, I enjoyed all my books today. No score. I think if you're smart, you know what books. You know how I feel about what books. I'm not gonna pussyfoot around and make a score. I got Jupiter Jet to read, my own story to finish, and books to sell on eBay. I have to figure out if that is a conflict of interest posting my eBay listing here. Because, yeah, I'm confident I'd get at least one or two buyers from here. You guys are so awesome. Stay awesome. I know this was a short review today. Keep on trucking. Bob out.